Hello and welcome to another What's Inside. Today we are looking at a Star Wars The Force Awakens Micro Machine Playset. This is the R2D2 one. In a previous episode we looked at the Stormtrooper one. So the nice thing is they did two of them. I was able to locate this one really cheap because a lot of the stuff was kind of left around. So let's take a look at this and see if it's worth tracking down. So it's another fold out one that folds up to look like R2D2 instead of a Stormtrooper helmet. But it should be pretty interesting. So let's see what we've got in here. Now, there are pieces of tape around the top here. There's 3 pieces. So you'll want to be real careful not to screw up the box if you're a collector. If you're like me, you probably don't really care. I'm not a huge collector. But you'll probably, if you are a collector, you'll want to be extra cautious. Alright, what's this start? Okay. This is a little more difficult than I expected to get out. You gotta kind of wiggle it a little bit to get it out of the box without ripping the box apart. Because of this little window here, the plastic on here will catch, and you gotta kind of shift it around a little bit. Pro tip. Alright, so here's the R2D2 playset. It is approximately the same size as an 12-inch R2D2 from the 70s was, if you had one of those. So it's about the same size as that. A little smaller, I think, than the remote control R2D2 if you're an old collector like myself. So, yeah, so let's look at our little guys here. First, we've got 2 snow trooper types in a little vehicle. And then we've got Chewbacca on here as well. And this just pops out. It's not affixed or anything. Then we've got a little booklet here with various advertising for other toys. And then we've got another book about the assembly instructions. There's a fly on my table here. So it just walks you through how to open it up and stuff like that. Pretty straightforward. Not too exciting. Paper quality's only okay. I'd be real careful if you're storing this or displaying it because this could rip fairly easily. It's colorful, but it's very thin. Alright, so let's look at the actual playset itself. There's a little tilt-out piece there. Alright, so this is what the flyer goes on. There's the wheel to control it. I believe this shifts down. So you can do that. And it'll automatically go up to go over the legs and then down again. There's a little ramp here. And on the other side's like a little staircase thing. And none of this stuff moves. It's all fixed. It's okay quality, honestly. This piece is very fragile, I would say. And it's probably the part that's going to bust. So you got to be careful when you stand that up because this can't go straight down. It's got to kind of go out at an angle. This piece goes up. Nothing underneath it. It just goes up for some reason or other. Kind of a boring set, really, because nothing moves. It's not like the old Micro Machines sets from the Empire Strikes Back and things like that where stuff did things. There were movable parts. This doesn't do anything except for this piece. That piece moves. That's it. So it's a pretty boring set. The detailing is not real good. The quality's better, I think, on this one than on the other one. But overall, it looks better as a display piece for R2D2 than it does as its own thing. This was not affixed in the box, so you'll need to remember that too, because there's nothing keeping this from bouncing around and getting banged up. So if you're buying it used, you'll definitely want to be careful to inspect all the corners to make sure there's nothing damaged on it, and to make sure both the figures are there, especially the Chewbacca. These are not detailed well, and they're very cheap plastic, So I imagine this one's going to yellow within a few years from now. I mean, Last Jedi already came out, so this is already 3 or 4 years old. But I suspect that this piece is going to yellow very heavily. This plastic might not. It's fairly decent plastic, but it wouldn't surprise me a whole lot if it did, honestly. So I would pay real careful attention to the condition of the big piece and to make sure the little ones are there. But there's really not much more to say about it. It's slightly better than the other one, but it's still pretty mediocre of a set. And quite honestly, if I had paid more than a few dollars for this, I'd be pretty upset, because I believe these were $10 or $15 originally. And of course the collector secondary market is going to make them go up in price over time, most likely. But honestly, if I was a die-hard Star Wars collector, I might just skip this one altogether. It's not an exciting piece to display, unless you display it as R2D2, because the playset is not particularly engaging to kids. It's going to be kind of boring. You have one figure that can move around and the ship that flies around. That would be exciting for about 10 minutes. So if you have both of them, maybe, because then you'd have a couple extra pieces to play with, but there's just not enough here for any kid I know to have their interest retained. This is more aimed at adult collectors looking to be completionists, I think. So I would say that I don't really need this. I'm going to probably give this to somebody. So that's the Star Wars The Force Awakens Micro Machines R2D2 playset. I'm not too impressed with it. Maybe you are. And hopefully this video helps you make that decision. But that'll do it for this one. As always, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you on the next one.